6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is the news edited by Lal Malawarachi and read by J. Yogaraj. First, the headlines. The Minister of Foreign Affairs commences an official visit to Iran today. State Minister of Finance says Aswasama program will not undermine the Samurdhi beneficiary movement or the Samurdhi banks. Yal Nila Odissi luxury train operates to Kankesanture from today. Sunday Sitavaka Odissi will run on Saturdays as well. Japanese aid to modernize agri-sector using IT and smart farming. News overseas. Former U.S. Attorney General says that Donald Trump knew well he lost the election. In sports, Sri Lanka records first win in Netball World Cup 2023. And those are the headlines. Minister of Foreign Affairs Ali Sabri starts an official visit to the Islamic Republic of Iran from today to the 7th of this month. The Foreign Affairs Ministry announced that this official visit will reportedly take place on an invitation from the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Iran, Dr. Hossein Amir Abdullah. During the visit, the foreign minister is scheduled to pay a courtesy call on the Iranian president, Dr. Sayed Ibrahim Raisi, and to hold meetings with the Iranian foreign minister, Dr. Hossein Amir Abdullah, and the other senior government officials with a view to further strengthening the close relations between the two nations. The minister will also deliver a speech at the Institute of Political and International Studies of Iran. State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinghe says acceptance of new applications for Aswasama Social Welfare Benefit Program 2024 will commence once appeals and objections submitted have been reviewed. The minister mentioned that preliminary work was being done on the appeals received by the divisional secretariats to strengthen the shortcomings of the relief program. He said that Aswasama program would not undermine the Samurdhi beneficiary movement or the Samurdhi banks. He expressed these views at a press conference held at the Presidential Media Centre yesterday. State Minister Semasinghe elaborated that of 1.2 million families receiving Samurdhi benefits who have applied for Aswasama 2024, 887,653 families have qualified for that. And it was also decided to extend the Samurdhi allowance to 393,094 families who are not qualified for Aswasama from among the families currently receiving the Samurdhi subsidy until the appeals or the objections process is concluded. The Welfare Benefits Board has selected 1.7 million 92,265 beneficiaries for the Aswasama program. Relief has been targeted for 2 million families post-appeals objections review. This news comes to you from Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Transport, Highways and Mass Media Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena says that the Yal Nila Odissi special luxury train from Mount Lavinia to Kankesanture will commence from today. The minister announcing the inauguration of the service stated that following the complete renovation of the tracks from Anuradhapura to Omanthai, trains could run at a speed of 100 kilometers per hour to Kankesanture in a safe and reliable manner. The air-conditioned luxury train will start from Mount Lavinia at 10 p.m. today and reach Kankesanture at 5:30 a.m. the following day. It will then leave Kankesanture at 9:30 p.m. on Sunday, August 6th, and reach Colombo at 5:20 a.m. the following day. Meanwhile, Sitavaka Odissi train, originally which operates on Sundays, is extended to Saturdays from tomorrow as well. A special envoy of diplomatic missions are expected to participate at this event. The Sitavaka Odissi train is the newest addition to Sri Lanka Railway's fleet of tourist trains. The railway travels along the Kelani Valley route from Colombo Fort to Wagga. The railway's department tourist trains such as L Odissi and the Kandy Odissi are in high demand and have gained a lot of popularity among the tourists. Agriculture Minister Mahinda Amaravira says that many farmers in the country have already started smart agriculture programs. Private sector too is increasing their investments to smart agriculture and farming. The private sector has now realized that the agriculture is a sector that can generate income, especially through new technology. Japan's KBS Keio Business School agreed to introduce an information technology approach for agribusiness in Sri Lanka. The delegation discussed the modernization of agriculture in Sri Lanka with a group of officials, including Minister Mahinda Amaraweera at Agriculture Ministry recently. The delegation emphasized the need for an information technology approach. Funeral of the veteran journalist, actor and dubbing artist Lal Sarath Kumar will take place at the Keravala Cemetery at 4 p.m. today. His remains are now laying at his residence number 69B, Cemetery Road, Hendala, Wattala. He was 69 at the time of his demise. He had once served as a program production assistant at the Sri Lankan Broadcasting Corporation for several years. And that's local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
State Minister of Finance Shahan Semasinga says that Sri Lanka intends to conclude the debt restructuring process in line with the first review of the International Monetary Fund, which is due in September this year. He said this while participating in the inaugural ceremony of CPA Australia with an enhanced presence in Sri Lanka. The State Minister added that the wide-reaching and long overdue reforms that we have embarked on has shown clear signs of economic stability. The government has taken strict measures to manage public expenditure effectively. However, we still have a long journey ahead of us, he added. And that came to you in Top News.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watchlight, the National Water Supply and Drainage Board announced the water tariff was increased from at least 30 to 40% with effect from 1st of this month. The Gazette notification has been issued in this regard. The Water Board assured that low-income families will not be affected by this hike. And that came to you in Watchlight. And moving on to world news headlines. Former U.S. Attorney General says that Donald Trump knew well he lost the election. Australia helicopter crash remains found in search for victims. A stabbing rampage injures at least 12 in South Korea. And those are the headlines in the world news. Former U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr has spoken out against Donald Trump ahead of his court appearance for allegedly plotting to overturn his election defeat in 2020. Mr. Barr, who was appointed by the former president, said that Mr. Trump knew well he lost the election. Mr. Trump is accused of federal prosecutors of lying repeatedly about mass voter fraud and pressing officials to change results. Human remains have been found in the search of the victims of a catastrophic military helicopter crash off Australia's northeast coast. 4 Australian soldiers are presumed dead after the MRH-90 Taipan chopper ditched into the sea during a multinational military drill on Friday. A major search operation has since located debris and now the cockpit. At least 12 people have been injured in an attack by a man close to the South Korean capital Seoul. The suspect drove his car at random into 4 people and then got out and stabbed at least 9 others in a busy shopping center. The incident happened near a subway station during rush hour in the commuter town of Seongnam yesterday. A man in his 20s was arrested at the scene, but the motivation is unclear. And that's world news.
Development News is brought to you by
Vacancies for women from Desha, Sri Lanka for housemaids in Kuwait, Oman and Saudi Arabia for ages 23 to 58 years. Contact number 037 7500 500.
President's Senior Advisor on National Security and Chief of Presidential Staff, Mr. Sagala Ratnayaka, said that President Ranil Wickremesinghe's aim is to revive the construction industry in Sri Lanka and contribute widely to the national economy. Mr. Ratnayaka made this statement when the Executive Committee on the Revival of the Construction Industry met at the Presidential Secretariat recently. The progress of the government's decisions to provide relief to those involved in the industry by providing solutions to the problems that have arisen in the construction industry in Sri Lanka, which collapsed due to the economic issues the country had to face, was also reviewed at length. And that came to you in Development News.
Vacancies for women from Sri Lanka for housekeepers, home cooks, caretakers and home nurses in Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia and Singapore for ages 23 to 57 years. Salaries starting from 156,000 rupees. Interviews with foreign agents are now on. Come whether you have a passport or not. Branches, Colombo, Kurunagala, Anuradhapura and Matara. Contact number 0377 500 500.
In sports, Sri Lanka recorded the first victory of the Netball World Cup 2023 when they took on Barbados in the final match yesterday. And this is also the first victory over a foreign team after it beat Singapore team several years ago. Meanwhile, Sri Lankan team will meet Singapore team today at 12:30 p.m. in Cape Town today. And that was sports news.
Go ekakiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dagapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
China's Sinopec has commenced discharging its first shipment of fuel to Sri Lanka, with a second shipment due to arrive on Thursday, August 3rd. That was yesterday. The minister tweeted on Tuesday, August 1st, that the entry of new retail suppliers to the domestic market will ease the forex requirements for petroleum products, as the suppliers will bring in products on a 12-month financing facility from their principal investors with no forex requirements from the domestic financial institutions. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekakiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dagapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Moving on to economic news, the Sri Lanka shares close up on the 18th month high yesterday after buying interest was stimulated through senses of economic stabilization, while the market generated a net foreign inflow of 1.5 billion rupees, the highest net foreign inflow has been since 20th December 2022. And that was economic news.
Weather report.
The Met Department says fair weather will prevail over the island except for a few showers in the western and sub-Sub provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts, the forecasting division of the Met Department said. They said strong winds up to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected on the western slopes of the Central Hills in the northern, north-central, southern and northwestern provinces and in Trincomalee district. Showers may occur in the sea areas of the coast extending from Colombo to Mathura via Galle. And that was the weather report. To wind up this news broadcast, let's look at the main points once again. The Minister of Foreign Affairs starts an official visit to Iran today. State Minister of Finance says our Swasthama program would not undermine the Samruddhi beneficiary movement or the Samruddhi banks. Yal Nila Odyssey luxury train operates to Kankisanture from today. Sunday Sitavaka Odyssey will run on Saturdays as well. Japanese aid to modernize agri-sector using IT and smart farming. News overseas, a former U.S. Attorney General says that Donald Trump knew well he lost the election. In sports, Sri Lanka records the first win in Netball World Cup 2023. With that, we conclude this morning news broadcast of Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.